Hey, listen, if you're thinking of building an online course, then the biggest piece of advice I can give you is less is more. And we'll get into it right after. So the big question is this: how is a tiny percentage of entrepreneurs blow the pack away? What are they doing that we're not? I asked myself that question for 10 years. I was failing forward and getting sick of it. I wanted to build a coaching business, but couldn't make any headway. So I started studying them. I realized that the world's most elite marketers, entrepreneurs, and gurus were all using the same 4-step system. I call it the authority factor. On the show, I'm going to prove to you that the authority factor worked for them and it'll work for you. My name is Ken Dunn. Let's get started. Okay, it's really easy to fall into this trap if you're trying to build an online course. If you're actually thinking about doing it, or you're at a point right now where you're just getting started. Actually, I hope you're hearing this or seeing this because you're just getting started. I hope you did a search, online course, and boom, this video popped up. And if it did, then stick with this, because I'm going to lay out exactly how to build your entire course so that it's guaranteed to sell, and how to avoid the number one mistake that most new course creators make. And it's really simple. But before I get into it, I want to talk about where this idea comes from. Like, most people that build online courses start for the exact same reason. And for those that we don't know each other, if you're just getting to know me, I want you to know that I have literally helped hundreds of people to build online courses. And I've got some amazing clients that have made 6 and 7 figures just because of their online courses. And if you want proof of that, just go listen to more shows, watch more videos, you'll see it. Because I don't want to waste any time with that today. You're going to have to take that for what it is right now, because I want to get on to a bigger issue. Why do people, in most cases, decide to build their first online course? It literally, would it surprise me if I told you, would it surprise you if I told you that 90% of people who come up with the idea to build their online course actually all have the exact same experience leading up to that? Let me explain it to you, and you tell me if this fits you. You went through some type of challenge in an earlier part of your life, and you could have struggled with it for quite some time. And at one point in the journey, it's something snapped, and you realized how to fix that problem. And you started going down a very specific path to fixing the problem, and boom, the change happened. And you got over that problem, your life started to prosper, you started to flourish, everything started to go amazing. And then every time you were around somebody that knew you, for one reason or another, the story would come up. You started telling the story. That story is called the epiphany story. And we're going to talk about that more in these videos and these shows in the future. So make sure you keep that epiphany story right in your mind. So you're telling everybody this story about how you fixed the thing. I had these troubles. I don't know how I to get over it. I found this thing. It fixed the problem. And now life is amazing. And once you realized how to fix your problem, there were probably several steps, several things. You had to make life changes, you had to make habit changes, you had to learn more things. You probably had a mentor or a coach that helped you. And you went on this journey that eventually led to you fixing the entire problem. Is that you? If that's you, comment below, comment in the notes, say, yeah, that's me. I'm in that situation right now. Because if it's you, then I'm going to stop you right now from making the biggest mistake you could possibly make, and almost guaranteeing more sales for your online course. And it's really simple. The biggest challenge that most new course creators have is they go through that journey, and what happens, that epiphany story that you're telling everybody, that story you're telling, it gets played back in your head so many times. Let me use a specific example. Weight loss is the easiest one and the first one that comes to mind. So for years, you were carrying an extra 30 or 40 pounds. It's a lot of cases, it's because you had a child, you got distracted with childcare, but it's not just that, it's men and women, but you get the point. And then you are trying to get back on shape, you're trying to shed those pounds, and for one reason or another, you start and you stop, you start and you stop, and then finally one day something happens. You see a Facebook ad, you meet a new coach, you get into a program, it snaps you into a routine, or you saw somebody else and what they look like and you realize you were heading down that same path, or you lost your father and he died because of some type of disease related to the weight he gained. Or, see, all of these things I'm telling you right now, that's the epiphany bridge. That's the epiphany you had that forced you to start moving forward. So you're telling that story to everybody, and it keeps getting played back to you over and over again, more and more. And then what happens? This is the death of a coach. This is the death of a coach right here. What happens is everybody you're telling that story to, because obviously what's happening is every time you meet somebody who knew you before, they saw you carrying an extra 40 or 50 pounds. Now they're like, oh my gosh, you look amazing. What happened? And it leads you into the story. Or maybe it's your business. Maybe all of a sudden you're making a lot of money in your business and people have known you for a while, see you driving around this old jalopy and you got a brand new car and you see them, and they see the car and they're like, oh my gosh, what happened? Or you just look happy. People haven't seen you in a while and you meet them, you see them somewhere and you look happy, you're dressed well and everything, and they're like, what's going on with you? What happened? Oh, you met Mr. Right. Whatever it is. That's normally what happens. It's people that haven't seen you for a while. They suddenly see you and they ask you the question. And you get into the story and you tell them all about what happened and how you felt before. And then one day, you had this epiphany, this idea, something happened and you fix the problem. And what do they always say? They always say the same thing. I guarantee this happened to you. They say, that's amazing. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. You should write a book. You should write a book. How many times have you heard that? How many times have you heard that? You should write, they say that, oh, you should write a book. What they're really telling you is your story was so inspiring to me that I think you can help other people. Write a book is just the first thing that comes to mind. And then you start going on this journey where you're investigating, yeah, I should do that. I should write a book. I think people would pay me for this. Or you see Facebook ads of other people that are getting paid for doing that exact same thing that you got through. And you said, you know what? I'm going to start a coaching business. I want to get paid to help people get through this exact same situation. I'm going to start a coaching business. And then it hits you. For one reason or another, you're like, I'm going to build an online course. And you don't know the first thing about it. Here's what happens in that scenario. And I'm going to tell you how to avoid it. What ended up happening in that scenario is most people, they get to this point where all of those things happen. They say, you know what? I'm going to build an online course. People are going to buy my online course. People tell me all the time that my story is amazing, that I could really help people. They've told me I should write a book. I'm going to build an online course. That's where you are right now. I know that's where you are right now. This is why I want to share this with you. This is why you got to take this advice. Remember this forever and ever and ever. Less is more. Because now you're sitting here and you want to build an online course and all you know is your experience. So when you're thinking in your mind right now, I can read your mind right now. I guarantee you I can read your mind right now. Right now about your online course. And what you're going to structure it is how you're going to do it. You're thinking, I want to build an online course to help people fix this problem. And then you think back to your own journey, how your journey happened and all the steps that go through. And then almost like surreally in your mind, you see those steps turning into modules in a course. Those things you did teaching other people. Here's the challenge. If you're new to the space, the coaching space, and you haven't been around, you haven't sold anything yet, and you're launching your first online course, the biggest mistake that people make is they try to put everything they know about the subject in their first course. And most often they fail because of it, because it's too much, it's too overwhelming. And I'll give you probably the best example I can use in the world, which is my own example. So back in 2014, I owned a major publishing company. And I published thousands of books for entrepreneurs who were all using their books to build coaching businesses. And I started to realize that all of these people, they wanted more help on not just writing the book, but the whole system. And so I came up with this idea to build an online course. Now, thankfully for me at the time, I had a friend who I knew was in digital marketing and understood this stuff. I met him in a different industry years earlier when he was just 19 years old. His name's Russell Brunson. If you don't know him, then you're not involved in digital marketing. So I reached out to Russell. I called him up and I joined his inner circle. And that's where I learned how to build my first online course. But here's the challenge. What I didn't realize is I was making the mistake. Because when I started putting together, like Russell helped me to structure the course, the content, the steps in the journey, and showed me how to build the online course and how to sell the online course. But here's what I didn't get from him. This was the one thing that really screwed me for a long time. I built this massive, elaborate course teaching people how to build coaching businesses, every step in the journey they could possibly do. Start off by getting clear on their messaging, by writing a book. And then once you write the book, you build your email list. And once you build your email list, you build your online course. And then you launch your online course. And in this course, I taught them how to build it, sell their online course through webinars. I taught them how to sell their online course through sales pages, like every step in the journey. And then after you get them in, you get on the call with them. Here's what you say to them, and you upsell them into this thing. And in this online course, it had everything in it. Then once my online course was finished, I had to start selling it. So I built a webinar and I started doing these webinar presentations every week. Now, friends, I've made millions of dollars selling my courses on webinars. I have 7 online courses today that literally make me millions of dollars a year, and they're automated. They work perfectly. But that was from 2014 to now, right? So we're talking 8 years later to get me to that point. The first year that I started doing webinars, I didn't sell anything. All I can remember is Russell's advice in my head, and he kept saying over and over again, do your webinar every single week until you start getting sales. Then keep doing it and making it better and making it better, and then do it for a year, and then your best presentation you ever did, that's the one you use for automation. So all I was thinking was, and he also said, your sales probably aren't going to come right away. And I'll tell you that. Your sales probably aren't going to come right away. And you got to keep doing it. You got to keep tweaking it. Well, friends, I went for 20 weeks of doing this every week. I spent about $30,000 and I got no sales. So I finally went back to Russell and I explained this to him and I convinced him to look at the video. And this was my big epiphany, and this is what I want to share with you today. He says you're overwhelming them. And this is what most new course creators do in your very first program. All you know what to do is to put everything you know about the subject in the first course. And you're going to end up overwhelming them, and they're not going to buy. The confused mind takes no action. The overwhelmed mind takes no action. What they're going to end up saying is, wow, he or she, you, in your webinar, you're going to give them every piece of the puzzle, and they're going to be so confused. They're going to be like, oh, I can't buy their program. It feels overwhelming in my head, but I'm going to try and do it on my own. If I can't do it on my own, then I'll come back, and they never do. So Russell looked at my program, and he explained that to me. He said, if it's your first program, your first course, take a piece of the puzzle. Look at the entire journey that you want to take them on, and take a piece of the puzzle and focus on that first. That'll be your first program. So he said, in your opinion, what's the first step? And I said, well, I own a publishing company, and I have this system where I can teach people to write their entire book in less than 5 hours, 10 minutes at a time. And I've helped thousands of people to do it. And you can see all the testimonials and videos on this channel. So I said to Russell, well, that's what it is. And he says, how would you teach that? And I said, well, I'll build an online course for just writing the book, and we'll do a weekend that they can come to. He says, that's where you start. And so, friends, I built a new online course that was just about writing a book. And I built a new webinar, and I started selling it, and it exploded. And the rest is history. And here's what happened. When people would come to that writing weekend, they would build such confidence in our system because they would all write their books in the weekend. They would build such confidence in us, and their belief in me as their coach would go up. that they would buy more. In fact, here's how I realized that. We had done about 10 or 15 writing weekends. We'd put about 300 people through it, and they all spent $2,197. That's what we sold on the webinar. And it was in Las Vegas. It was in 2016. I remember we finished with a group of 80 people. And on Sunday afternoon, we always have like a little Q&A and answer questions for them. And one person said, "What's the next step? What are you selling next? Ken, I really expected you to sell something today. What's the next step for us? What should we do next?" And I was dumbfounded by it. I'm like, holy cow, that guy just asked me to buy something else. It's never happened to me before. And so I thought about it for a couple of minutes. And I'm really fast on my feet, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, I said this to him. I said, well, the next thing you should do is take your book and those chapters. Every chapter is a module. Now you build your online course based on the book. And you got to build an online course next. And as I was telling him that, I started snapping my fingers so the people in the back of the room heard what I was about to say. Because we had a team in the back of the room, our support staff. And I said, listen, I've got a very special offer for you guys today. For the next 30 days, I'm going to teach everybody how to build an online course and how to scale it and how to make money selling it through long-form sales pages, through webinars, and through tripwire funnels. And we're offering exclusively for everybody in this room. And if you sign up in this room right now, when we launch this program officially, we're going to sell it for $2,000. Today, we're going to sell it for $997. And there were 80 people in the room, and 47 of them spent $1,000 right on the spot because of somebody in the audience. And so I built my next program, which was the online course program. And I've taught over 1,000 people to build online courses now, and they naturally go through. So now whenever we sell our writing weekend, when they come out of that writing weekend, then we sell them the online course program. And then they get their online courses launched, and they build even more confidence in us. Then I have it's called the Authority Factor, my entire coaching program, which was the original program I tried to sell in 2014 and I failed, and it's selling now. Why? It's because all those people have gone at least through one other program. Their trust in me has grown, and they know now I am the coach that can help them to build their entire coaching business. But it never worked when I tried to sell that whole system up front because I never gave people a chance to win with me first. So what's my advice to you today? Remember what I've been saying all the way through this time together. Less is more. So if you're building your first online course right now, do not make the mistake I did. Start with a piece of the puzzle. Look at that client journey. So what you should do is actually write out the journey. If you're whatever it is that you want to help people with, write out a detailed journey of every step in the puzzle and all the things you're going to go over in each step of the puzzle. There's another session here on this page somewhere that walks you through the client journey. Look for that. That's the best next session to go to. Write out that entire journey and then look at it on paper afterwards and ask yourselves, if I could start by teaching people one thing, and they were guaranteed to get a result with it within 7 to 14 days, 21 days, what would that thing be? And once you know what that is, that's what you build your online course around. Not the entire topic, not the entire subject matter first. Just something guaranteed to get them a result. What you're going to normally find if you do this is that thing, and if you're having a hard time figuring out what is that thing inside of the thing, all you have to do is ask yourself, what is the thing people come to me most often? So if you're a weight loss coach or if you're in the fitness space like that, how to lose 10 pounds in 10 days. That's it. That's all you have to do. I've given that same advice to over 100 fitness coaches, and they all have online courses now on how to lose 10 pounds in 10 days. And I've had 7 of them make over $1 million just from that piece of the puzzle. And after you get through the 10 days, you naturally upsell them into the next program. It works in any niche. If you're watching this video or you're seeing this on the podcast and you have any questions about it, hit me up on Instagram. Send me a direct message. I monitor my own Instagram account. You can just go over there and find me, Ken Dunn, and say, I watched this video, I listened to this podcast, And I think this, you got to give me a suggestion. I'm not going to do it for you, but if you give me a suggestion, say, I watched this video, I listened to this podcast about less is more, and here's what my coaching business I want it to be about, and here's the thing that I think I want to do. And friends, trust me, this will change everything for you. I hope you do this. So remember, here's the point. If you're just starting out, instead of building an all-encompassing online course around everything you know, write it all on paper, everything you want to teach, the entire journey, and then look at your writings and ask yourself that magic question. If I could just teach one thing, what is a piece of this puzzle that I could teach somebody and they're guaranteed to get a result within 10 to 14 days? And if they get a result, they're going to want more from me. And I guarantee you, friends, if you build your course around that first, on that thing first, it'll be so much easier to sell. You'll eliminate people getting confusion when you're explaining it, and they'll get a chance to get a quick result, which will make them believe in you more, and they'll want to buy more from you. Remember, friends, less is more. And remember, if you like what you're getting here, if you like this, if this was a good time for you, then definitely subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications, because there's lots more great content like this coming. Hey friends, it's Ken Dunn here. I really hope you enjoyed the show today. Hey, listen, if you've ever thought about starting a coaching business, if you've got this information in your mind that you want to share with other people, and you know you can start a business with that, but you don't know how to get started, I want to invite you to come to my live online presentation. There's a basic, simple system that I will teach you, that I will show you exactly how to get all the information out of your mind and position the information so that people want to consume it, whether it's a book or an online course. Actually, in our 60 to 90 minutes together, I'll show you how to write your own book. I'll show you how to build an online course, write the book in less than 5 hours, build the online course, launch it, and sell it in less than 7 days. The link is in the bio. Check it out. It'll change your life forever.